Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, ocho. Ready? Okay. All right. Commissioner Gordon?
Present.
Commissioner Taylor?
Present.
And Commissioner Zelka?
Present.
Okay, then we are underway. Any changes to the agenda? Elise, anything?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Any oral communications? Nope. All right, so we're going to approve the minutes from last time. You know, I wasn't here, so can we still, well, I may have to wait another time to do that.
There's nothing preventing you from approving minutes from a
fine.
previous meeting, even
No,
if you
that's
weren't
fine.
in attendance.
All right, do we have a motion to approve?
I move that we approve the meeting minutes from September 15th, 2016.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And that concludes that. So we have some staff comments this week? This month?
Yes, we have a few brief staff comments. We had an artist outreach event last Friday. We had Erica Behrens from Franz Meyer of Munich come and give a presentation. We had about 15 artists in attendance, and it was really, really inspirational. She showed probably about 40 examples of artworks around the world, and really walking artists through how artworks, you know, on paper, two-dimensional, smaller scale projects really get translated into these monumental scale artworks. And so she had examples from subway stations, airports, municipal projects, private development. But it was really inspiring, and there were so many artists who have written us subsequently just thanking us for the event, telling us just how wonderful they thought the resources were, and really got them thinking about the possibilities. So we're really happy we were able to do that. So that was very successful. The other thing I wanted to remind you all about is that the Patrick Dougherty construction is going to begin soon. So the Willow is being delivered next Friday, and construction will begin the following Monday. So I know there was an invitation sent out to several of you to come attend a couple of events associated with that, and I encourage you to do so. Patrick's he's going to be on site for 3 weeks working on that build, and so it's a really interesting experience to get to see it get built and evolve over time. So I just wanted to remind you about that.
So the Willow comes next week, and then the following...
The following Monday is when the build starts.
So that is Monday the 31st of October, Halloween.
Yes.
Very cool. The event looked amazing, that the one that you had last week, and I was so bummed. I was traveling for work. Did any of you guys make it? Did we have any?
I know.
It was tough.
Disappointed.
It was tough because it was raining a lot and the traffic was just horrible. And so we had several people who called us from their car saying, "I left Berkeley an hour and a half ago, and I'm nowhere near you. There's no way I'm going to make it." So it was really unfortunate, but we were able to email some information out to those folks and put them in touch with Franz Meyer of Munich. So,
is there presentation materials that we could look at, or they probably didn't record it? I imagine.
No, and we don't really have the capability to record it, so it's not recorded. But we did share some of the information with them and point them to the site. So.
That's
very
great.
cool.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it.
And that's it for staff announcements.
So we have as our next order of business a brief presentation by Aaron Lee Benson.
So we're super excited to have Lee Benson and his family here this evening to give a presentation about his work. He has been on site since Tuesday, working on the running wall out on the plaza. Hopefully, if you haven't had a chance to check it out yet, you will soon. And as you can say, he's got quite a hardy crew here. And they worked super fast. We thought we'd be still working and building tomorrow, but no, we're all finished.
Yeah, we thought we would be too.
So I turn it over to you, Lee.
Thank you, Lise, and thank each one of you for being here tonight and giving us this opportunity to talk about our work and also to build a piece for you. Our whole family is just enamored with your community. It's absolutely beautiful. The trees here are fabulous. I mean, it's just an incredibly beautiful community. The traffic is
Really bad.
The worst I've ever been in, except in D.C. But obviously there was a fire tonight because I kept thinking they're supposed to be going out of the city, not coming into the city. But anyway, but your city is certainly quite beautiful, and this location is probably we have one in Key West, or had one in Key West, and I always thought that was the best one, the best location. It was beautiful. It was right on the beach until today, and I thought, no, this is really a beautiful location, a beautiful place to build, and so we thank you for that opportunity. I would like to introduce, we are all Benson Sculpture. We're a small business. We make sculpture all over the world. My wife runs the business. She runs our crews and manages them, schedules them. My oldest son is a sculptor and also a professor at UNA in Alabama. My youngest son is a sculpture graduate student at University of Maryland in Columbia. What? College Park, I'm sorry, in Maryland. My oldest son's wife is an artist, and our youngest daughter is a laborer. Yeah, Allison, and our youngest daughter is a laborer. She's a Disney princess wannabe, I guess. I think if she finds that job, she's going to take it.
Okay.
But she did. She's intern. She's a graduate in hotel restaurant tourism and works at the deaf school right now. So. And they're our crew, and we have two other artists. Our oldest daughter just got her BFA at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and so we're just a family of sculptors. And
Very cool. Thank you guys for coming out. It's awesome.
So cool.
so we'll show just 8 images tonight. So this is the one in Key West that we built maybe 10 years ago.
Wow.
It was called Hurricane Come Here No More. It was right after they had a major hurricane, and so this is the biggest piece we ever built. Just celebrating this community. This piece I'll talk about. This is the only one I'll talk a little bit about. This is a commission we won at the Hermitage, home of President Andrew Jackson, and they were doing some local construction and unearthed a slave graveyard that no one knew was there. I don't know whether it's state or federal law, but you can keep those bones uncovered for a limited amount of time unless a certified organization takes charge of the remains, and so Middle Tennessee State University took charge of the remains, and so Tennessee decided to issue a commission on. It was supposed to be a sort of a statement of the stance of Tennessee's stance on slavery, and we won the commission. And the bodies are reinterred under the wall there. They were treated with great dignity and buried in a very special way. And this piece is called "Follow the Drinking Gourd." So there's "Follow the Drinking Gourd" was an old a hymn that they would teach the slaves on how to escape, how to move north to freedom, and so it was to follow the North Star that's in the Big Dipper, no, Little Dipper, one of those dippers, Big Dipper. So there's 7 trees that intersect the boulders, oak trees that are laid out in the shape of the Big Dipper. And then you can't see it, but in the upper right-hand corner is the North Star tree, and it's circled with 7 boulders as well. So that was a really good commission we won, and it was really meaningful to be a part of how Tennessee, what Tennessee wanted to say about its role in slavery. So that was this is a piece my son did, and he was a post-bac student at University of Colorado Boulder, called Conspicuous Consumption. That's newspaper baled as hay. And then both sons went, Zach and Aaron went to Australia and built this on Bondi Beach this year, right, as a part of Benson Sculptures. We rebuilt this piece in Australia. And then this is the last piece. This is just gallery work that we do. So there you go, Benson Sculpture LLC. We just really thank you all for the opportunity to come here and build this work for you. We work extensively with Habitat for Humanity and Habitat for Humanity International. So in about 6 months, this piece will be dismantled, and Habitat for Humanity will build a low-income home, maybe in Palo Alto, hopefully, a low-income home. And so we have homes from Australia to Palo Alto. So there you go. Any questions?
Thank you so much. We were very excited when Elise brought this to the commission initially, just the concept and just the nature of the way you work, and that the wood just, it's a very interesting way to deaccession a piece. So
Yeah.
it's something, it leaves its memory, and then it takes a new life. So it's very cool.
Yeah, and we were at some point, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we thought, how could we be do some work that's a little more social conscious, and that was my grandfather was a furniture maker in North Georgia, and one Christmas he gave my two brothers and I 4 big boxes of blocks, and we played for those forever. And then one day we were just sitting around and saw these 2x4s, and I thought, wow, wouldn't that be fun to play blocks again? And that's how it all got started. And we thought, well, that might give us an avenue where we could be a little more socially aware of our imprint on the planet, and also how we could serve our fellow citizens in a better way, not just aesthetically, but maybe in a little more practical way. So, and we've been fortunate. We've built a lot of these now. So,
a number of states.
yeah, all over the.
Do you have any photographs of the new instantiation of the wood, like as a home?
No.
That'd be kind of
That
cool
would
to have
be a good idea, wouldn't it?
like a
Yeah, if you could show the piece and the home.
yeah.
That is a neat idea.
We have a
Yeah.
number of pictures with Habitat for Humanity
Picking
picking
it
it
up.
up.
Yeah, taking it down, and
Yeah.
We've taken it down, or they have, and
that is a good idea.
but
It's
that is
probably
good.
used as blocking. It's probably used as like blocking in the insides of the wall, so it'd be neat to see
The stone.
those
Yes,
houses,
exactly.
yeah, in
I know.
process. But I don't know, I'm thrilled that we have this piece here, and I'm really moved by your portfolio. It's really great. So, gorgeous work. Thank you.
Well, thank you, and it's really special that you have your whole family involved as well. That's really touching. It is.
Well, and
It's
my wife and I
touching.
have years and years ago thought, we did make a conscious decision of how history taught us that families were actually mentored into vocational aspirations, and it really has been very successful, because they get, I'm first generation artist, so they've had advantages that I never experienced. Like, we have a picture of Betty holding Aaron up in front of a Picasso painting, when he's probably 2 weeks old, but your brain puts all this together, and it never makes you conscious of it, but it makes the connections, and it comes out. And so the advantages that the 4 of them have are just unbelievable, and so we enjoy it. We have a really, really good time making work and being with each other. And
Definitely keep us posted on your future projects too. So I'm happy to share that on our social media feed and everything. So.
very good.
Do you work from a maquette, like when you sort of are conceiving what the piece will be?
Yes, I have a big box of blocks that are that are miniatures of a 2x4, and we build them and change them and stack them and tear them down and think about how it might work. And this was actually the first permanent, not where we actually put the piece together in this format, instead of pairing the 2x4s like that, pairing them like that, which is a much more difficult process of trying to figure that out. So yes, we build a lot of maquettes and lay out the landscape, and know, so when we arrive on site, we can pretty much know what we're going to be faced with. And
I do have one quick question. So there was a nice little rainstorm that we had last week. So in terms of the wood, is it varnished in a way that if we did get more rain, that it would be protected and covered, or is that something that you don't?
It's kiln-dried lumber, so it's naturally resistant to the weather. We've had up to 2 years. It's still absolutely safe to put in a home up to 2 years. We had a piece we were checking that. We had a piece in New Albany, Indiana that they wanted to keep for 2 years. And so we thought, well, this would be a good opportunity for Habitat for Humanity and us to see sort of like what's the longevity of kiln-dried lumber. Do what? Oh, I thought someone said something. I'm sorry. But for 2 years, it was a little bit concerning because it was black when we came back, but it was the air pollution that had settled on the piece over time and stained it. But the integrity of the lumber was absolutely intact. Habitat for Humanity took it, and so you don't have to worry. It's kiln dried, which means it's weather resistant for 6 weeks. For 6 months won't hurt it at all. And this is the first time we built with fir. We usually build with yellow pine or white pine. And so, and we thought it was really fortunate too because the fir is red and the grass is green, and it has a really beautiful relationship aesthetically, how the wood reacts to the green grass out there. It's really, really nice. And so,
do you have any feedback for us as a public art program, given your experience in working with other cities? You know, we're always looking to borrow where we can for practices that work nicely. I mean, I think Elise and her team are real pros, but I'm kind of curious if there are any things that you'd recommend that we borrow or consider from other places, or things you might suggest we do differently.
No, I think you know that you all are doing what you should be doing. Money is the biggest issue with artists. I mean, it's I forget who I told the other day. I was like, artists are the lowest guy on the we met someone on the plane flying out here, and we had won a commission in Atlanta, and a gang had torn it down, tagged it and tore it down. So in the process, they were like, okay, we're gonna rebuild this piece. And we're like, great. So we went for 2 years. We did a radio station with the Braves and everything to raise money to rebuild it. Well, at some point they won a grant, and they said, well, because we haven't won a grant, we have to open it up to the public to bid for it. So we thought that was a formality. So we went down and did our pitch to the Arts Commission, and 2 weeks later they called and said, sorry, another team
build your piece?
We'll build your piece. So there's $96,000 right out the window. So artists are always on the lowest end of the totem pole. So any way you can make an artist feel welcome and feel affirmed and financially support them, that's a really, really critical thing. The location is beautiful. You know, I would just encourage you to keep doing it. I run a sculpture tour in Jackson myself, and we had our mayor was very arts friendly and gave us $20,000 a year to put this tour on. And then he was elected again, and he was a lawyer, wanted to go back into private practice, and then they elected a tennis player, and within 2 weeks he had me in his office and like, we're not going to do this no more. And so I think it's really, really great what you're doing. I would just say keep doing it. I think a variety of things that you bring into the public and let them see that art's not necessarily a painting on a wall, but it's a variety of, and it also, Habitat for Humanity, it takes on all kinds of lives of its own. It's not just a sculpture. So, art's changing, and I think you all are to be applauded and commended. And Elise too is running a very effective ship, and Brittany, right? And Nadia. So no, I would just encourage you in the arts. The arts are, I could stay here all night and tell you how important the arts are to every community, and most people don't understand that. But your community is so beautiful anyway, but it can change overnight with the political. You could have a mayor. I don't know how you run your city, but you could have a mayor or a city council get in place, and the aesthetics of your city could be, that could be of no concern to anyone. You'd be like, well, we're moving on. And so I would just encourage you. I know you got to come in here late at night and sit here and do this, and so I would encourage you all to stay the course and just do what you're doing, fund the arts, advocate for funding for the arts, and bring artists in here and pay them well and treat them well. There you go.
Thank you very much, and thank you for coming out.
You're welcome.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And you can invite us back and have us build another page. We'd love to do
Sounds
that. That's
good.
one way you could help.
There you go.
Very good. Well, we're going to be excused for the evening. Thank you for the invite.
Enjoy the rest of your time here.
Thank you.
And I'll see you in the morning.
Oh, I'm glad.
All right, so our next order of business is discussion of the truth booth.
Okay. So, I wanted to start with Cause Collective. A long time ago, when I started bringing to the commission various projects for temporary installation, including Lee Benson's project, there were a number of slides I followed up with as far as looking forward, some of the other types of things that we wanted to branch into, and some of that is more social practice work. And the Truth Booth is an initiative by Cause Collective, which is this group of artists, including Hank Willis Thomas is probably the biggest name there, has gotten a lot of notoriety, especially recently. They've done a number of these truth bubbles. I think they were last summer in Brooklyn. Public Art Fund had installed a number of pieces, and they're based on this Truth Booth. And the Truth Booth has traveled all over the world, and I'll show you a little video. So I had investigated with Cause Collective previously about what it would take to bring the Truth Booth here. And it was pretty pricey. And so I hadn't brought that to the commission before. But they started this Kickstarter campaign to do this special tour with the election coming up, that they wanted to go to all 50 states. And the Truth Booth is I've done it before, and it's a room for one person, and you have, I believe it's 2 minutes to record your truth. And the only rule is you begin your sentence with, "The truth is," and then take it wherever you will. And they've gotten amazing truths from all over the planet. And so they did this Kickstarter campaign and got a lot of money tied with the election to bring it to all 50 states. And so for that reason, we have an opportunity to bring it here for a quarter of the cost that was initially quoted me. So it is a good opportunity to do it. In the course of this, since the Kickstarter video, which I'll play for you in a second, was made, they realized it takes a lot more in their setup and teardown to actually try and get to all 50 states before the election. So it's expanding beyond the election. So actually more of the timeline we're looking at is probably early spring to bring it here. But I wanted to share with you this video, if I can get it to play, because it gives you a little bit more of a sense of the artists and the booth and the kinds of things that they're seeing.
Oh, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading, wait. Oh, it's loading.
I think that the Truth Booth is a wonderful thing.
Truth is, I'm Hank Willis Thomas.
I am Brian Alexa.
My name is Jim Ricks.
I'm Will Sylvester.
The truth is,
I'm scared. So, the truth is,
for the upcoming presidential election, we're coming to Kickstarter so that you can help us travel the Truth Booth on a 50-state tour.
The goal of this tour is to provide the American public with a platform to speak their authentic truths at this critical moment in American history. In 2011, we started a project called In Search of the Truth. The project consists of a large inflatable speech bubble known as the Truth Booth.
The Truth Booth is a video recording booth. Inside, participants are asked to record their truth. The only format being, they start their statement with "the truth is."
The truth is very real.
The truth is that I am very happy to be alive, which wasn't true for a long time.
The project has traveled to Ireland, Afghanistan, South Africa, and various parts of the United States.
As we've traveled around the world, we've been amazed by the thousands of people who've gone inside the booth and told the truth from their unique perspective.
The truth for me is that it's probably going to be hard for me to go 2 minutes without crying, because my life is not at all what I thought it would be.
حقیقت این است. از به ظاهر آزاد بودن خسته ایم. حرف عمل می‌خواهیم.
Your pledges will help us to tour the booth, process all the videos that we receive, and build an interactive website.
We're trying to take the Truth Booth to all 50 states. This is an ambitious project, and we cannot do this without your support. So please, help us make our goal so we can continue this quest in search of the truth.
I found happiness, that's the truth. I cried happiness, that's the truth. I found love, that's the truth.
So now you have a little clearer picture of what the Truth Booth is about. So as I mentioned, in the course of their touring around the states, there are a couple of opportunities where they're going to be in the neighborhood. And so we have the opportunity to bring the Truth Booth they would like to place it on King Plaza sometime in the spring. And the amount for that would be $5,000. And we would want to approve a little bit more for the permits and fees for that. So we would probably do it under a special event because it would be a one-day install. Are there any questions about the Truth Booth?
I love the idea. So is it just a day? Is that? Or is
it is. It's just a day. It pops up. Yeah.
That is incredible.
It's one day. They do a lot of the preliminary push and outreach. So once we have a date and a space selected, it's not intended to be sort of a surprise. You know, people really want to know when the Truth Booth is going to be there and really seek it out, which is what I did when I found out it was going to be close by. So I made it a destination. So I don't think it's any problem to guarantee that there will be lots of people interested in doing it. I think, of course, the interesting juxtaposition, having that photo op in front of, City Hall where people can speak their truth is extremely profound and interesting. But that was the space when one of the artists was here in town. He's actually from Palo Alto, Jim Ricks. And we went and toured several different spaces. We explored the Baylands, we explored several parks, we explored a number of spaces. And he took the images back to the team, and they all really gravitated towards King Plaza as the right space for it.
So I guess my thinking would be, it seems like something I would want to kind of expand a little bit. I feel like one day, especially here, is not enough. And I'm just kind of speaking out loud because I'm wondering if this is something that, I know that it's a time crunch, but maybe if we can get a business or some organization to co-sponsor, it would be really fascinating, I think, to go to a few different destinations in this area. Like East Palo Alto or King Plaza, Stanford. Because I feel like, I think King Plaza is a great location, but I also feel like this is something that needs to be more, I'm going to use the word diverse in terms of, I think it could be in other locations as well. So I would love to, I feel like if we're going to do this, I think we should push it a little bit more.
Do you know if they are, you said they're in the neighborhood, do you know what other nearby locations they're doing in the same time period?
I don't know exactly. I know that they do try and curate a diversity of types of spaces. So they're like the City Hall space because, they like to curate where they're going. Because part of what they come away with are these amazing photo ops in front of these spaces. So, part of it is this engagement with the artist about them really wanting the site as much as, where we might like to see it.
To Nia's point, perhaps, does the city of East Palo Alto have a public art commission or anything that would be our counterpart that we could perhaps reach to our friends in other cities and perhaps collaborate in some way, share this opportunity?
They don't have a public art program, and I don't really have any connections over there for that kind of programming. There are certainly other public art programs on the peninsula.
I I'm wondering if our commission, I mean, I don't know if this is sort of where you were going with it, but, you know, if our commission wanted to reach out to the mayor of East Palo Alto or the city manager there and just see if this is something they'd like to participate in after we've checked with the artists to see, is their schedule fully booked, right? Is there a day where we could maybe, I don't know, collaborate in some way?
It would mean more, yeah, it would also mean more funding.
That's true. And our charge is to spend it here. I
Right.
understand that, but I'm just thinking about what you're thinking about, if I've understood it.
Yeah, I really feel like this is something that, it seems like it's a conversation, and I'm wondering if this is enough of a conversation. I feel like it could be pushed. That's, I guess, where I'm feeling that. I feel
Well, I
like
don't
there
think
could be
there's
more.
anything.
I'm just wondering if we're, I hate to use the word, but I'm going to use the word again, diverse enough. I feel like it needs, I feel like this is a really, could be a very powerful tool for us to promote diversity in this city, and I feel like I just feel like it could be pushed a little bit more. I'm just, I'm putting it out there, and yeah. I agree with what you're saying, and I'm trying to think of maybe verbiage I could use, but I think if we could, I would love to see it be expanded a little bit.
I guess alternatively, and probably easier to, if there's like, I don't know about like the different jurisdictions and stuff, but maybe this is an opportunity to collaborate with the school district, right? At our study session that we had with council, we talked about, I believe we talked about like, and we our study session came on the end of when they were meeting with youth in the community. Maybe there's a way for us to collaborate with the high schools or like dream catchers or just some of the local groups, just to make sure that should we approve funding for this, and if this does come here, that our outreach includes community partners that are active.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely doable.
I mean, that's
the
where
other
it doesn't
question
go
would
with
be,
the
what's the time frame from what time to what time? Or do we have is it going to start like at 8 in the morning, so can we, I think a lot of what I'm concerned about is that it's going to be like typical like tech workers or people, or retired people, and that's what I feel like. I think we need to just make sure it gets used properly. And I
think we can invite, certainly work with our community partners to try and bring more people to the site, but also keep in mind that they are installing the Truth Booth in a multitude of spaces as well. So that's part of how they've designed the project.
Do we know what other locations they're doing in California?
I don't know what all's been confirmed in California. That's something I can look into.
I mean, I think that doing another day is not realistic. I think that we should maybe think about another location. I think the things to consider is like, is it a weekday or is it a weekend? I think it has to be somewhere in Palo Alto. I don't think we can do it in EPA. But I think that, unless they're really set. I mean, I want to be sensitive to what they've curated in terms of the different types of voices. Like if they're just have gone in LA and put it at a high school, well, no, we don't. We want tech workers, actually. And that's why we wanted to come in Palo Alto and do it there. I mean, if I were to consider a location, it was a weekday location, I might consider the University Avenue, like somewhere near Caltrain. I mean, there's an enormous number of people that come in and out of that location. Right. There's transit issues, but there's a huge number of people that come through. I don't know what the spot would be. I mean, a parking lot at Pally could be something, but if it's a weekday, the kids are in school, and so it's sort of a distraction in some way. Although it's only 2 minutes, so.
Well, and the trick, you mentioned a couple of things. So I did take them, we did go to Lytton Plaza. We looked at spaces right in University. the high traffic can be problematic in and of itself because you need to leave enough privacy and space from the door, and it's distracting when you've got a bunch of people running around outside of it, and you end up with a big line, and then people get sort of disenchanted with it. So for them, it's really about getting enough traffic and interest, but also having that visual pop. So for them, having that sort of that photo op of where it is, they like sort of open spaces. So not necessarily being like, you know, in a more crowded or cramped space is good for them.
I mean, if you could get a weekend to do it in Rinconada Park, would be great.
Well, I love the idea of it being here at King Plaza, not only because of the fact that it's our city center and a good place that we're trying to enliven with all this temporary art that we've been putting in it, but the Narduli piece, like maybe there's a way for us to, you know, if there is a line, you don't want to wait in line, you can come and say your truth on the bubbles here, you know, and we can further promote the fact that we have something that's year-round in our city hall.
It's a still images or text, so it's not video, so you can't.
I mean the bubbles. The bubbles amazing. This is a similar theme.
Yeah.
Totally different piece, but maybe there's something we do at the same time. My comment on the East Palo Alto idea was just letting their staff know that this opportunity is in the region,
right?
And if they are interested in doing it, maybe they have partners that they are already working with, or that, and that we can at least coordinate days.
Connect.
That's really just it. But it might not be on their radar. If it is, then they're not interested, or it's not in their budget. I don't know. But that's sort of where I was going with that comment.
Okay.
Just want to be clear. I wasn't suggesting we put it somewhere.
But just have them, invite them.
Yeah, just to let them know this is happening.
I guess too. I think I was jumping to conclusions a little bit, but I guess my question too is, what is their vision for this particular project? I think I didn't see that, and I feel like I was seeing something I really liked about people having the opportunity to talk about something meaningful or important to them that they might not share with the public, but they are sharing with the public in a unique way. So what's their vision? What's their vision goal?
Well, I think a lot of what they're really searching for, what are the commonalities in these truths? You know, and what I've heard from them about the election tour in particular is that they assumed there would be a lot more election-related things, and it's really become more personal. And that even going country to country, there are some themes emerging that are, you know, are these central truths to our existence? And that's really more where they're going with the truth booth.
And how do they choose who gets the truth booth? I mean, obviously you had to apply for a day.
Well, I contacted them, and they like to have a diversity of settings and places and cities, and so Palo Alto is of interest to them. So I took Chimrix to maybe 6 different sites around the city. We really brainstormed, like, okay, we could put it in Mitchell Park, we could have it in busier settings, we could have it in more open park kind of settings. We did take him out to Rinconada Park, which he actually liked very much. But ultimately, when he went back to the team, looking at sort of what other settings they're going to be in, this was the place that they really liked.
Sure, because it's a day for them.
And then basically anybody can come and just, you
Absolutely.
don't sign up, you just go there, you just find out that it's going to be there, you just go.
Yeah.
And then
You do have to sign a release form that they may use the video, as they did with some of these. But yes, anyone absolutely can go in and say whatever their truth is.
They're just scanning around on their site to see if they have locations, and they don't. Interesting. Well, they've raised all their money, so it's going to happen. They're doing it.
Well, it's happening.
Yeah,
I mean, I
that's what
think
I was asking, like,
it's in
where-
Florida, I think, right now.
Okay.
Just kind of interesting.
Yeah. I'm very excited about it.
Mhm.
And I know it might not be everything that we want, but
Mhm.
I still think it's worth bringing it here.
I totally agree. Do we have any influence on the day? Like, if you, I'm kind of curious, commissioners, like,
Yeah.
if you know it's going to be King Plaza, what day do you want?
Yeah.
I think we could have some sway there, so it would be great to hear from you. What you think?
Well, it would be good to hear from them whether they have a preference on weekday or weekend. My preference would be that it's a Wednesday, because a lot of the schools have minimum days on Wednesdays.
That's right.
And we are not far from Palo, and I happen to know that there are students from Gunn who come and take Samtrans back home, who are part of the Tinsley program. And so I think if we do reach out to our partners in the school district, we have an opportunity to include youth, at least towards the end of the day. So my preference would be a Wednesday, because students get out early on that day. So it may be a compromise.
That's a good point.
One question about the way they manage the logistics. Like, I'm assuming they don't want to have some kind of online sign up so that you aren't waiting for 3 hours, but you could say, hey, your spot's going to occur between 3:15 and 3:30.
It's too complicated.
Okay.
You really, you sign up
It's a mess.
and, you sign something that's on a clipboard and you wait for a few minutes till it's your turn.
Okay.
Or at least that was my experience.
So,
And what happens with the information? Can we do something as the city of Palo Alto with that information, or it belongs to them?
It belongs to them.
Okay. So we can say, like, can we make a video of even just voices? It doesn't have to be people's faces. Can we do something with that?
It's
'Cause
really, it's
that's
their
really
material.
cool.
We really
Okay.
can't
and
take
then
it.
also you're like creating a project that we have to fund also.
Not necessarily. I mean, maybe they do it already. So I was just thinking that could be a very interesting.
I mean, we should ask. I mean, what do they,
Yeah, would we?
we could ask. I don't want to fund something else that's.
No, I'm not
us like,
asking the
"Oh,
fun. I'm just
please,
curious.
who makes the video?"
Like,
But I think
do they like? Do we get it's? I mean, I know it's a one kind of it's a very much of an impromptu. There's a word I'm trying to think of. Candid, but there's there's actually an art term of an art phrase I'm thinking of, but
Camera
there's
veritas.
of an art. No, it's like it's like a happening, kind of like you're not expect like maybe you don't have to record it. Maybe it's just like it's kind of it happens and.
All right, I'd like to move that we close discussion here. Anything else that anyone else wants to kind of cover? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve $5,000 towards the Truth Booth coming for one day in the spring of 2017.
I second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are approved. So at least for this next item, given that we have to have one commissioner recuse herself, it sounds like we should just table this for until next time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other announcements? All right. Our next meeting is the 17th of November. And I will be here then.
I have one brief question.
Yes.
I know sometimes in December, we tend to do something like last year we did the holiday open house for our master plan. Sometimes the commission does something a little more fun. I know that the city clerk's office is also trying to identify a potential date to have all the boards and commissions for a recognition event, and it could be sort of a holiday thing. So I just wanted to sort of take the temperature in the room on whether or not the commission felt we needed to meet in December as far as our regular meeting. Or the other option could be if they decide to do the multiple commission recognition event that evening and we had something that was time sensitive, we could do a quick special meeting to take care of any business.
I'd suggest you guide us, and if you
Okay.
think the agenda warrants it, then we should convene. Otherwise, I'd say skip.
Okay. December can sometimes be a tough meeting anyway.
We'll have one in November, though.
Yes,
Right.
yes,
okay.
we're still
But not
planning on
in-
November.
okay.
Thanks for clarifying. I appreciate that, Nia.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
November 17th. Yes.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
I'm gonna go see this.